Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we're doing another deck profile, and yes, I'm looking at something actually meta for once. It's Tearlaments. The deck just dropped. I usually don't pick up new meta decks when they come out, but I'll be honest, as far as meta decks go, I've been more excited for Splight and Tearlaments than I have for really anything meta that I can remember over the last couple of years. I think they're both interesting. I think they're both cool. This deck pushes the envelope on fusion decks and the fusion mechanic as a whole. It's insanely powerful. I'm going to show you my pure build here today. I want to also warn you, I'm not even planning on playing this deck. I'm actually building it for a buddy who hasn't been playing for the last couple formats, but is going to be picking up this deck. He's been excited for the format just for this deck to drop. So yeah, build it for him mostly, but still my take on the deck post-pote. And yeah, so also keep in mind, we're also doing the new format to the deck profile. We're going to just show you the whole list all at once, very little explanation. Then we're going to jump into the explanations for everything. Then from there, I'll show you a quick base combo that you can kind of take with you and kind of go from there. This deck is not a super linear deck at all. It kind of depends on whatever you draw in any given hand, as well as your mills. And then in the last part, I'll show you a quick 5-card hand and what I would do with it at this point in time. So very, very cool. Let's get into it. Before I do though, subscribe to the channel for more stuff from me, deck profile, and anything else Yu-Gi-Oh! Also follow me on Twitter. But yeah, let's jump in. All right, for the deck list here, we are starting off with our Tearlaments lineup. We are maxing out on all of these. Triple Rhino Heart, best normal summon in the deck. Triple Sharon, best monster extender in the deck. Triple Havney, just a straight up hand trap that mills you cards and puts you a body on field. Really good. And then Triple Merly, by far the most mediocre of the Tearlament lineup, but still good in her own right because we need names. Our additional normal summon here is going to be Supreme Sea Mare. Pretty cool card. It's just Armageddonate for Aquas. That's basically what you're using it for, to dump any of your Aqua monsters just to trigger a fusion summon, which is still pretty good in its own right. From here we move to 2 copies of King of the Swamp. Really good. This card gets you poly, but also can act as any specific fusion material for Shaddoll monsters. 1 Beast, 1 Ariel, 1 Squamata. Really cool. They actually give you really cool utility and like high roll potential when you're getting your mills. And then for the monster hand traps, just Triple Ash and Triple Bell. Bell being a really good defensive card as well as an offensive card. Well, not offensive, but you know what I mean. Defensive / offensive. Into the spells, the only card I'm missing for the deck is the field spell. It's really expensive and it's a 3 of, so just keep in mind this is the field spell. Really good card. Searches any of your monsters. I actually play 4 copies of it, believe it or not, with the Terraforming. And then a bunch of other one-offs. 1 Rhoda, 1 Instant Fusion, 1 Foolish Burial, all at 1 on the ban list for a good reason. Really broken in this deck, all of those individually. Your 2 polys, these are searchable off of your King of the Swamp, and also just helps you extend. 1 Galaxy Cyclone and 1 Called for some last-second one-offs. For the traps, 1 Meta Noise, 1 Solic. How do you pronounce this? Solic? Sulk? I don't know. And then finishing up with Triple Imperm. I'm a big fan of this hand trap in this format. Then into the extra deck, double Kit Kalos, 1 Kaleido Heart. That's all you need for the in-archetype ones. Double Dragos Stapelia. Card comes up a lot. I definitely like 2. 1 Winda and 1 Kaliga for your Floodgate boss monsters. 1 Millennium Eyes, 1 Mud Dragon for your like protective, like kind of just protect your board kind of monsters. And then for some rank 4 action, 1 Redoer, 1 Baguska, and 1 Bahamut Shark to make your Toad with. They're all pretty easy to make in the deck. And the last card is Dark the Dark Charmer. This card's insane. If you play a dark deck, you got to play it. All right, so that's it for the quick list. Let's get into some explanations to go a little bit more in depth here. All right, for the explanation portion of this video, we're going to be breaking up the cards in terms of their roles. So starting off with our starters, Triple Rhino Heart, Double Sea Mare, and then the field spell because it grabs Rhino Heart, 4 copies of that, and even Rhoda because the only warrior we play is Rhino Heart. Funny enough, she is the only warrior in the deck. But yeah, like any of these, they all take your normal summon, but that's fine because nothing else really needs your normal summon. And we also have some pseudo starters as well. So it's not like if you don't see any of these, you literally can't play. There are still ways to get there. But you'd like to see one of these if you had a choice. Other than that, like, I don't know, Rhino Hearts. So like all you need to know is like these are like one card Kit Kalos, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I was rushing out of there. But yeah, just really good. And the field spell's like insane. The fact that it is a buff to literally like every monster you're gonna have, as well as pretty much a pop during every single turn. Whenever you do any of your shuffling back, you just pop something. Absolutely crazy. And the fact that these are 2 level water 4s, or level 4 waters, allow you to abuse like that Bahamut Toad package as well. Moving into some extenders here. Most of the other Tearlaments I would almost like count as like extenders. Some of them like kind of need to be milled, but some of them don't. They kind of fit a weird like in-between category. So Sharon's my favorite one. She jumps out of the hand just during the main phase and then sends a monster. That's by effect. So if you have another tier in hand, you're triggering it. If you have a Shaddoll in hand, you're triggering it. You know, dumping a King of the Swamp just to get him in grave, whatever it is. She's a great extender. She's also 1800, so she can be used as a beater. She is really, really phenomenal. She's my favorite one after Rhinoheart for sure. Havni is kind of an extender, but kind of not. She's actually kind of a hand trap. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, she summons herself, then mills 3. You're never guaranteed to hit anything like insane off the mills, but if you do just kind of like get to play on the opponent's turn. Imagine if you like hit an Ariel on the opponent's turn. That's kind of like the high roll aspect of like playing that cards like that in your list. So really, really cool. And then Merle, she's like the most mediocre to me by far. She's the only one I would consider dropping down to 2. She isn't a pseudo normal summon. On normal, she just like mills 3, which is fine. Like if you hit something good, you obviously can potentially, this could function as well as like any of the other normals in the deck. And then she just has like the basic fusion effect. So she's like okay, but she's definitely like the least useful of them all. But hopefully if like there's a hand where you didn't see like one of your actual starters, she could kind of fill in that slot and just hit a good mill and kind of get you going. From there, some other packages we play is the King of the Swamp with the double polymerization. Really cool package. The fact that this can either get you this or just be used as material for anything else is really, really good. This helps us play through interruptions because most of the time if our opponent sees us with our 1-card starter, it's going to get hand trapped. They're going to Ash Veiler Imperm on your Rhinoheart or your Mare or whatever. And so just being able to go like swamp for poly away everything. Your monsters are triggered. So you're going to summon a fusion, then trigger all your effects to like summon again another fusion. Really, really good. And then King of the Swamp allowing us to abuse cards in our extra like Millennium Eyes as well as the Invoked Kaliga is like so good. Really, really good. Like those cards are like just crazy that we have access to them, honestly. Then for some other one-off extenders, 1 Burial and 1 Instant Fusion. These are probably like the most powerful single extenders we have in the deck, aside from like Sharon. I think Sharon's like crazy. But like Instant Fusion, like all of our starters, this also can like substitute as a starter as well, but like even more so an Instant Fusion. Also, I didn't even mention this. I should probably be playing 1 copy of Fusion Substitute. It's just as searchable as Poly with the King of the Swamp, but you would just probably play 1 in 1. It just helps you get another draw later on, but it's an interesting card, whatever. But anyway, looking at these, Burial, just being able to send anything and just resolve the effect. I mean, I could even see myself in a weird scenario just sending Ariel and just clearing my opponent's graveyard and saying, fuck you. It can also be Upstart with Beast, or you just send any of your tier monsters, just get their effects, and then obviously Instant's crazy because it's Millennium Eyes to protect your field, it's Mudrag to protect your field, it's Kaliga to like keep your opponent from doing anything on your turn, or it's just Kit Kalos, and then you get your engine online. Like it's really, really good. It's like the best card in the deck. If that card was at 3, this deck would be insane. Insane. For the Shaddolls, all good. I like playing like all at 1 because if I hit Squamata, it's now just like a second copy of either of these. You're very easy to like shuffle all these back as well, just for like fusion summons to reload them back into the extra. So no problems here. You don't really want to draw them, but we do have stuff like Sharon to kind of get them out of the hand, so it's not the end of the world. It's just not the best for sure. And then for these are like kind of the pseudo bricks for the tier engine. If you draw them, they're fine as long as you like had tier cards to play. I like them both. I think the Counter Trap's pretty poop, but these are both pretty good. Like the Book of Moon, but the fact that a Book of Moon's and then just sends, it's literally getting you like a fusion summon and a Book of Moon at the same time. And then this one's just like an Imperm that sends something else, but the fact that it's continuous means you have that Imperm effect like every single turn, which is really, really good. So I like 1 in 1. Some people have only played like 1 Meta Noise or 1 Solic, depending on what they like, but I'm playing one of each. I like them both. For hand traps, I showed you the 3 Ash, the double Bell, and the triple Imperm. That's all I really have there, but I think this deck already plays going second decently well. Ash just kind of covers everything. I've seen people mess around with Super Poly in the main. You definitely could, but that's up to you. I really like Ghost Spell in this deck because one, it's just a hand trap, like cool, that works, but also being able to protect yourself from DD Crow and Called by the Grave and effects like that are really good against your deck is really, really huge. It's kind of just like 2 more Called by the Graves at that point. And then in Perm, I like this versus Splight because if their hand is really good, they're always going to opt for red over Carrot, in which case they can only negate monster effects to protect their board, so you can still hit a gigantic Splight and keep them from getting the frogs in rotation. And the last 2 cards in the deck, more defensive cards. Called by the Grave, just I don't need to explain that at all. And then Galaxy Cyclone. I like this card a lot because not only is it like a mill target, but it's also a card that like helps us just hit, you know, set back row with this, which this deck does sometimes, as well as just other decks. Like, it feels like every deck could be setting something, but if you mill this, it's a Mystic Mine out in the main that you don't even have to draw to get to. You could potentially just mill into it, which is crazy, and I like that a lot. So then I move to the extra. Like I showed you before, 2 Kit Kalos and the Kaleido Heart for the in-archetype cards. Kit Kalos is by far the best one. The fact that it just searches or sends anything on summon is crazy because we have so many 1-card plays to get us into this. That's what I'm going to show you in the combo portion. And then getting a mill for 5 when she's sent to Grave to potentially hit Shadal's or, you know, whatever, King of the Swamps or whatever is just like insane. And then Kaleido Heart, cool boss monster that just gets you extra removal and applies a lot more pressure. Really, really awesome. And the fact that I think just the inherent mechanic that we always shuffle them back to do more fusion summons. So to play more, we already recycle them. It's just like kind of broken in and of itself. Double Dragus Tapelia, just one of the just super generic boss monsters that's really easy to make, and it's just solid. He's big, he negates stuff, you gotta love him. For Floodgates, Winda, and Caliga, the only downsides to these ones is you have to get a mill for either a Shadal or King of the Swamp to make either of these live. But once you get them out with like maybe one other like interruption with them, that'll just win duels on its own. So I like still being able to play these just because these cards are the win condition. You just probably need one other thing to keep them from being like outed super easily. There, then we have 1 Millennium Eyes, 1 Mud Dragon. These are also instant fusion targets, but Millennium Eyes you can also make with King of the Swamp, and then Mud Dragon you can just make with your engine, with the tier cards anyway, so still pretty good. Setting up either of these like with one of those Floodgate monsters can just be game, because people just won't be able to out them, and then you just win from there. Really, really good. I like these a lot. And then for, you know, explaining these a little bit more, Bahamut Shark definitely comes up, but not all the time. It's nice though, because even when Toad is sent, he's going to like add you back your Rhino Heart for follow-up, which is really good. But Guska, specifically for those scenarios where our opponent either uses like dimensional barrier or that Floodgate card that's like neither player can fusion summon or something. Being able to just make this is like a way higher ceiling play than like making Toad. So I'd rather just be making this and saying like, you know what, screw it. Splight really struggles to out this. If they're going to stop me, I'm going to like halt them for a couple turns and give myself a chance to draw into an out. And then Reader is just insane. The quick effect ability, because he doesn't detach as cost, he detaches as effect, which triggers all your tiers, triggers all your Shadals. Absolutely insane with this card. And the fact that he's just a big body that's coming back every turn. If you're lucky and you hit a trap off your opponent's deck, you are insane for sure. And if you hit a spell, you're drawing cards, which is still pretty insane in and of itself. But this card's amazing because it's probably my favorite rank 4 of all time, for sure. And the last card, Dark, pretty obvious, I think, for mostly the mirror match, but I'm like, if you play Branded or if you play, you know, whatever, any deck that just plays Dragos Tapelia or any pretty good dark monster that like can offer you value, like this card's pretty good at the end of the day. And just like getting that stuff, and if he dies, he floats, he's a beater, he's pretty good and he's easy to make in the deck. So I think he'll come up at times to just be, I mean, even imagine just going like, oh no, I have 2 monsters, but I don't have access to my own fusion. How about I just go like Dark, revive my opponent's Kit Kalos, then Kit Kalos, like dump a card to do a fusion, shuffling back their Kit Kalos. in the process, and then like getting to my own engine is like pretty good, I hear. So I don't know. That's the idea there. But yeah, that's it for like the quick deck, the explanations on all of the card choices and ratios and everything. Now let's move to the quick little combo section. All right, for the combo section, I'm going to be showing you a 1-card combo using just the field spell. It's a searching field spell that like gives a buff to all your stuff and then can pop something if you do any tier effect that like shuffles them back into the deck or extra deck. But yeah, it's just going to be a super simple basic combo. You have to keep in mind that this deck is not really one of those super linear decks where once you like know the plays, you can play the deck. You kind of need to get used to just seeing what the hand is, knowing what that hand is capable of, and going from there. So I'm just going to show you a super simple play to get started, and then from there you need to like work on like knowing what plays your deck can do based on what you draw and go from there. So we're going to activate the field spell. We're going to use its effect to search here. We're going to go ahead and grab our Rhino Heart, our 1-card Kit Kalos, like I told you. We're going to normal summon it, and we're going to use its effect to send a Tearlament monster from deck to grave. We're just going to go ahead and send Merly, the least useful one, to me. Then we're going to use Merly's effect when she hits grave to trigger and shuffle back these two into your deck to go ahead and summon out Kit Kalos. When Kit Kalos is summoned, she's going to trigger to go ahead and get us an add or a send. And listen, I'm going to show you the most basic form here, but you got to keep in mind you should have 4 other cards in hand. So I'm going to add Meta Noise just because it's going to get us a send for another fusion summon on the opponent's turn, as well as a Book of Moon in and of itself. So technically this is like a 1 card to 2 interruptions and probably even more follow-up down the line. Which is insanely strong. But you also have to keep in mind that Kit Kalos can add or send. So if you had any other card in rotation, if you put any other like monster in grave, or you put, or if you had anything in hand that you're okay with like fusing off with, you'd be able to send another one and then fuse into another boss monster if you didn't want to go the trap route. But this is just a super simple play. It kind of gives you a good baseline of like what to expect with the starters, and then from there you need to look at hands, see what the extenders can do for you, and go from there. But as far as this goes, I'm pretty satisfied. Pretty basic little combo there. All right, guys, and we are here for the final portion of the video. We're going to go ahead and do one quick test hand just to see what we got and just to give you an example of what you can expect to see in the deck. We've already got Field Spell, King of the Swamp, Havni, Ariel, and another copy of the Field Spell. Not a bad hand. We have a starter at the bare minimum, plus an extender in King of the Swamp, so we cannot be mad at the end of the day here, but let's see what we can do. So starting off here, we're going to go ahead and activate our first field spell. We'll probably put the last one in the back because that one's kind of dead. We'll use the effect and we'll go ahead and search here. We don't have a starter here, except, well, I mean, this is a starter, but we don't have a normal summon. So we'll go ahead and grab Rhino Heart. We'll go ahead and use Rhino Heart's effect on normal summon, and we will send ourselves a Merly because we don't have her in rotation yet. Then we will trigger the Merly. This is one of those situations where I'm kind of like, where are we going here? Do we want to shuffle the Rhino Heart back? Is there a way for us to put another level 4 on the field? I don't know, right? Because, we definitely could. Pretty good. Let's actually shuffle back the Havni from hand because she's not really going to do anything in our hand. So we're going to shuffle back these two to go ahead and summon out our Kit Kalos. We'll use Kit Kalos effect to add and or send from here. I think I'm going to go ahead. Oh, man. Could definitely do some stuff. I'm just going to grab Meta Noise here. Let's keep it simple. I already showed you guys. Well, maybe. And but then I wouldn't have. Oh, you know what? Let's actually go for it. You know what? Screw that. Let's actually send. So we're going to send. We used Merly already, so let's send Havni this time. And then we'll use Havni's effect in grave, and it'll fuse off with... maybe we should do that first. Maybe that's crazy. Yeah, that's actually crazy. So we're actually gonna... Let's actually send a second copy of Rhino Heart. Let's see. We can't use both in the same turn. So we're gonna send Rhino Heart, and we'll use Rhino Heart's effect in grave to summon itself. And then send Ariel. Obviously, we're going first here in this situation, so let's not then there. Then we can overlay these for a Bahamut, then Bahamut effect to summon a Toad, which is great. Detach a Rhino Heart. Now we can discard King of the Swamp, and we'll grab ourselves a Polymerization. I'm still very new to this deck, but we're still figuring it out here. So then from here, we can go ahead and just use Poly, fusing Kit Kalos. Let's see. What do we make here? So dark. Oh shoot, we actually can't make any of these the way I did this. This is awkward because I needed the Ariel still in hand. Okay, so let's just say we pitched the other field spell and kept the Ariel in hand. So we're gonna fuse with the Ariel and the Kit Kalos, right? No, I can't. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, yeah. We'll just go ahead and make ourselves a window using those two. That's going to trigger the Kit Kalos engrave. Yeah, that's what I need to do. Dump that. So then we're going to use Kit Kalos' effect engrave to go ahead and just mill 5. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we did it Havni and Squamata, which is pretty cool. So we can go ahead and fire off the Havni as Chainlink 1 and probably Squamata Chainlink 2. So we'll go Squamata and we'll just send the Beast, the only one we didn't send yet. And then we'll go ahead and resolve Havni to summon whatever else we want. I guess it could be Millenniumize, it could be Caliga if we want. Wow, Caliga. Yeah, let's actually do Caliga because I think that's like kind of crazy. So let's actually shuffle back the King of the Swamp because he counts as our Alistair, and then obviously the Havni needs to go back. And then we'll do Beast as Chainlink 2 to go ahead, or I'm sorry, Beast in a new Chainlink to go ahead and draw. So we'll shuffle these. This is kind of crazy because we're ending on Caliga, Winda with the protection of Toad. Wow, that's crazy. And when Toad negates, he's going to like add back a Rhino Heart for guaranteed follow-up. Very, very cool. All right, we'll draw one off Beast. It's a ghost spell. Holy crap. Okay, that's pretty insane. Okay, so we're going to pass turn on that, I believe, which is pretty crazy, all things considered. I think we've got a Winda Floodgate, a Caliga Floodgate, a Omni Negate with Toad, which, by the way, when it negates, is going to add back our Rhino Heart for a guaranteed follow-up. And we have Ghost Ogre and Haunted Mansion drawn off the top there as well. We also have Bahamut here, which if we wanted to, if we negated something with Toad and we didn't care about Rhino Heart, we could just put Toad back and like Bahamut back the Toad next turn if we wanted. I don't expect that to happen, but also theoretically you could shuffle it back because it is an Aqua when you do another fusion summon into like a Kit Kalos next turn, and then when you do, then you go Bahamut out the Toad again. That's pretty crazy. Beating both of these floodgates through an Omni Negate and a Ghost Spell is going to be pretty freaking hard at the end of the day. So I'm happy with that. I'm pretty satisfied with that for like being a really early like just test hand for me. I'm not super used to the deck just yet, but wow, deck's crazy. Deck's actually crazy, guys. So I'm gonna end it off there. Well, let's go to the outro. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like this from your boy down the line. And let me know your thoughts down below. I've been trying out the new format for the deck profiles. Let me know how you've been feeling about all of that stuff. And also let me know what you're feeling about the deck. Definitely let me know your thoughts down below about the build, what you would change for yours. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think on that. But I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.